AITA for telling my brother's fiancé the real reason his last engagement ended. I, 29F, have an older brother, Josh, 32M, who is engaged to a woman named Emily, 30F. They've been together for a little over 2 years, and honestly, I've always thought she was too good for him. She's kind, thoughtful, and incredibly patient, which is more than I can say for a lot of the women Josh has dated. That might sound harsh, but it's the truth. The thing is, Josh has a bit of history. And by a bit, I mean he has a very long track record of sabotaging his relationships in immature and selfish ways. His last engagement, to a woman named Tara, ended in a total disaster. The family story, the one he's told every friend and relative, including Emily, is that Tara cheated on him with a coworker and left him high and dry 2 months before the wedding. That's the version I heard for months too, until Tara reached out to me on Instagram about a year after their breakup. We'd stayed vaguely connected, and she wanted closure, which surprised me. We ended up talking, and I found out that Josh had cheated on her multiple times during their engagement. Tara had caught him texting and sexting 2 different women and found photos he'd sent to someone he'd met on a trip to Vegas. When she confronted him, he gaslit her, blamed her for being too insecure. And when she finally left him, he spun the whole story to make it sound like she was the one who strayed. I didn't know what to believe at first, but then I started noticing patterns. Josh did the same thing in past relationships, always playing the victim, always retelling the story, so he was the one wronged. The more I pieced things together, the more I realized he was manipulative in ways I'd been blind to for years. Fast forward to now. Emily has been in our lives for 2 years, and she and I have gotten fairly close. We've had deep talks, wine nights, even a weekend trip together without Josh. I genuinely care about her. A few weeks ago, she asked me something that made my stomach drop. She said, "Can I ask you something personal? If I'm overstepping, tell me. But do you think Josh is being honest with me?" About everything. I asked her what she meant, and she hesitated for a while before saying she'd recently seen some messages on his iPad that made her uncomfortable. They weren't explicit, but they were flirty, and they were with a woman he used to hook up with before they got together. When she confronted him, he told her she was overreacting and accused her of not trusting him. Sound familiar? She told me she felt like she was going crazy and that it reminded her of what she'd heard about his last relationship. And then she asked me, point blank, did Tara really cheat on him, or was there more to it? I froze. I wasn't prepared for that. I wanted to stay neutral to protect our sibling relationship, but I also felt this pit in my stomach. I could see in her face that she was hoping I would tell her she was just being paranoid. I didn't lie. I told her the truth. I told her that Josh had cheated on Tara and manipulated the situation so that no one would blame him. I told her I hadn't said anything before because I wasn't sure it was my place, but now that she was directly asking me, I didn't want to be complicit in lying to her. She went very quiet. I thought maybe I'd gone too far, but then she thanked me. She didn't cry or get angry. She just said, "That confirms what my gut's been screaming at me." That was 2 weeks ago. Since then, Emily has called off the engagement. She gave Josh back the ring and moved out of their shared apartment. Josh is now absolutely livid at me. He says I ruined his relationship and poisoned Emily against him. My parents are furious too, saying I betrayed family loyalty and that it wasn't my place to air dirty laundry. My mom actually said, "Sometimes people grow and change. Why would you sabotage him like that over a past mistake?" I don't know if Josh has changed. I don't know if he would have cheated on Emily or if she overreacted, but I do know she was in pain, confused, and asking me for honesty, and I gave it to her. Now half my family isn't speaking to me, and even some of my friends are saying I should have just stayed out of it. That people have the right to learn these things on their own, and I shouldn't have inserted myself. But Emily is happier. She says she feels free, that she feels like she was sleepwalking and has finally woken up. She says she's relieved she got out before a wedding locked her into something she didn't trust. So, AITA for telling her the truth. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It helps the content grow and motivates me to create even more great videos. Turn on notifications so you don't miss any new uploads. By the way, I'm curious, When do you usually watch my videos? While working, studying, or just relaxing at home? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you for your support. AITA for refusing to let my sister and her fiancé use our family cabin for their wedding after what she did at mine. I, 30F, have a younger sister, Emily, 27F, who has always been dramatic. Growing up, she was the kind of person who needed to be the center of attention. Every birthday, graduation, or even holiday somehow became about her. It wasn't always malicious. Sometimes it was just immaturity or insecurity, but it became exhausting over time. Despite all that, I love her. I really do. And I try to be the bigger person for most of our lives. When I got engaged to my husband, Mike, last year, I wanted a small, intimate wedding at our family's lake cabin. It's about 3 hours from the city, surrounded by forest, with a small dock and a fire pit. Not fancy, but peaceful and meaningful. Our grandparents built it decades ago, and we spent most of our summers there. It's where I got engaged, and I knew it was where I wanted to get married. The cabin technically belongs to my parents, but I've been maintaining it the past 5 years. My parents live overseas, and I do all the upkeep, bills, minor repairs, lawn, restocking, everything. I pay out of pocket, and I even pay property taxes now, which I was fine with since I basically treat it as my second home. So, we planned the wedding for June. Small guest list, only about 30 people. A couple close friends, immediate family, and a few relatives. I asked Emily to be my maid of honor. Despite our rocky history, I wanted to include her, and I thought it might be a chance for us to reconnect. From the beginning, she was difficult. She complained about the dress I chose for her, even though I let the bridesmaids pick their own within a color range. She was late to every dress fitting. She kept suggesting we move the wedding to a real venue because cabins are cute for barbecues, not weddings. She even tried to convince me to invite more people, specifically some of her friends, and when I said no, she pouted and said I was being stingy with joy. Still, I held my tongue. Then came the wedding day. Everything started beautifully. Weather was perfect. Mike looked amazing. The ceremony went smoothly. We were right in the middle of dinner when Emily stood up, clinking her glass. I assumed she was going to give her speech. Nope. She announces, in front of everyone, that she and her boyfriend, now fiancé, are getting engaged. He walks up, pulls out a ring, and proposes to her in the middle of my wedding. She says yes, everyone claps, and I just sit there stunned. I try to keep it together, but my mom saw my face and gently asked if I was okay. I ended up excusing myself to the bathroom for 20 minutes. When I came back, Emily was sitting at the head table, chatting up people like she was the star of the night. The energy had completely shifted. Mike was furious. He didn't cause a scene, but I could tell he was upset. He later told me he wanted to ask them to leave, but didn't want to make the night worse for me. The next day, Emily acted like nothing had happened. She posted a bunch of pictures of the ring, tagged the cabin location, and captioned everything like it was her special weekend. I didn't say anything for a week. Then I called her and said I was really hurt, that she hijacked my wedding, and that I wish she had waited even just one day. She got defensive and said she couldn't help it, and love doesn't follow rules. When I didn't accept that as an excuse, she accused me of being jealous that she was engaged too. I told her I needed space. Fast forward to 3 weeks ago. Emily called me and said she wanted to have her wedding next summer at the cabin. I asked if she was serious. She said yes, that would be the perfect full circle moment, and she already had a Pinterest board going. I told her no. I said I didn't feel comfortable hosting her wedding there after what she pulled at mine. She was quiet for a second and then asked, "Are you seriously still mad about that?" I said yes. "You made my wedding about you." She started crying and told me I was being petty and vindictive, that I was punishing her over a happy moment. I reminded her that I take care of the cabin now, not her parents, and that I don't want her to use it for something as important as her wedding after she disrespected mine. She hung up on me. Since then, my phone has been blowing up. My mom says I should just let it go, and that sisters fight. My dad is more neutral, but suggested maybe we could compromise and let her do the ceremony there, just not the reception. A couple of cousins have texted me saying it's just a venue and that I'm making this bigger than it needs to be. Mike, however, fully supports me. He said what Emily did was selfish and that I'm within my rights to set this boundary. The part that's making me doubt myself is that the cabin does technically belong to my parents. And while I do all the work to maintain it, I don't legally own it. So, am I the one being petty here? Should I just let it go and let her use it? I want to be the bigger person, but I'm still carrying the sting of watching my sister turn my wedding into her engagement party. And now she wants to walk down the same aisle, in the same spot by the lake like nothing happened. So, AITA for refusing to let her use the cabin for her wedding after what she did at mine. AITA for refusing to give my sister the password to my mom's phone after her death. My mom passed away 2 months ago after a short but intense battle with pancreatic cancer. It was devastating. She was only 64, still sharp, active, and kind, and her decline was so fast we barely had time to process it. I, 32F, am the youngest of 3 siblings. My older sister, Leah, 38F, and I were the ones who were there the most during the final weeks, while our middle brother, Ryan, 35M, flew in a few days before the funeral. Our mom and I were very close. We spoke daily. I was her power of attorney and executor of her estate, and she chose me for those roles long before she got sick. She said I was the most level-headed and responsible, and I've always been the one she leaned on for paperwork, appointments, and general support. Leah was close to her too, but their relationship was often tense. Leah has always felt a bit overlooked and underappreciated in our family, and she carries a lot of resentment, especially toward me. The issue started the day after the funeral. We were all sitting in Mom's house, drinking tea and going through some of her things. Leah asked if I had the password to Mom's phone because she wanted to go through her photos and see if there were any she wanted to save or print. I told her I did have the password, but I wasn't comfortable sharing it right then. She got quiet but didn't press. Later that night, she asked again. This time, she framed it as wanting to hear Mom's voice again by listening to voicemails and reading old texts. Again, I said no. I told her I'd be happy to go through the phone myself and send her anything she wanted, but I didn't want to give out the password. She blew up. She accused me of trying to control everything, of acting like Mom's favorite, and even said I was gatekeeping grief. Ryan tried to calm her down, but she was furious, crying and yelling that I was being manipulative and cruel. Here's the thing. Mom asked me explicitly, while she was still alive, not to let anyone else have access to her phone. She didn't elaborate much, just said that after she was gone, I should go through it myself and delete some things, and not to give anyone the password. It was a strange request, and I thought maybe she was just being private or paranoid, but I agreed. So after she died, I went through the phone. There wasn't anything scandalous or shocking, but there were a few journal-like entries in her notes app, some very personal messages between her and a friend about her fears about dying, and a long message draft addressed to Leah that she never sent. That message was hard to read. It detailed some things about their relationship, how Mom felt hurt by Leah's actions over the years, and how she wished they'd been closer, but felt that Leah resented her too much. It wasn't hateful, it was raw and sad. I ended up deleting it because I didn't think Leah needed to see that and carry that pain. I also deleted some private medical notes and conversations she'd had with her therapist. There was nothing illegal or incriminating, just personal stuff that I knew she wouldn't want anyone else reading. I saved all the photos, voicemails, and benign messages, and I've offered multiple times to send Leah copies. I made her a photo album. I offered to download all the voice memos, but she says it's not about the content, it's about access. She feels like I'm holding on to something that belongs to all of us. She told our extended family that I'm withholding Mom's legacy, and now several aunts and cousins are giving me the cold shoulder. Ryan is on my side. He said Mom's wishes were clear, and that Leah is making this about herself. But I can't help but feel guilty. I've started questioning whether I'm really doing the right thing. Leah and I used to be close as kids, but our relationship has frayed in adulthood. She thinks I act like I have my life together and that I'm always the good daughter. She's struggled with relationships, finances, and jobs, and I think she's always felt like Mom judged her for it. I don't think that's true, but I do think Mom didn't know how to connect with her as well as she did with me. I'm torn between honoring what Mom asked of me and trying to heal things with my sister. But I also feel like giving her the password would be a betrayal. Not just of mom, but of everything I know she trusted me to do. Leah says mom is gone, and we should be able to share what she left behind equally. But I don't think privacy stops being important just because someone dies. I'm trying to be respectful. I'm not deleting anything else. I've offered to give her everything meaningful. I just don't want to give up the passcode. Now Leah is threatening legal action. I'm not even sure what that would look like, but she's been posting vague things on social media about being erased by your own family and how some people are hoarding grief for power. It's exhausting, and I'm tired of being made to feel like I'm some kind of villain. I genuinely don't want to hurt her. I want us to find a way forward. But I also feel like some lines shouldn't be crossed, and our mom's privacy was one of them. So, AITA,